Hey. Let me get you unfrozen. There it is. There it is.
There it is. We're live.
We live. We live, baby. We back. What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Blu-XPerience. Myself, Blue Games, and my homie XP.25, fellow Flight Sim YouTube, and I guess you're not technically a Twitch live streamer, but fellow YouTube live streamer. Welcome back. This is a Aviation and Flight Sim podcast that we've been doing quite often. This is the 25th episode, and today we have a lot to talk about. What's up, XP?
Wow, 25-year celebration is what? Is that Diamond or Jubilee? Or I don't know what it is. But 25, it's some kind of celebration, man. What's going on, guys? Welcome aboard, man. Wow, talk about Twitch. I have a Twitch account. I streamed on it once, but I've been on Twitch lately watching a lot of live streams, man. I wonder why. I'm just saying, I wonder why. But what's going on, guys? We've been off for a minute. We're happy to be back. Trust me. A lot to talk about, and it's one of those episodes today. No guest today, but we have so much on the list to go through to talk about, and we also are counting on you guys' participation in chat to see if you guys have questions, answered, comments. We'll go through the chat as usual and pick them out and talk about them on this live show. And for the first time, if you guys are just joining us, the Blu-XPerience, by the way, is just a live talk show, interview show, live podcast for Flight Sim community. I mean, we fly 99.999% of the time, but every now and again, got to give those engines a break, get the oil change and get them lubed up, get the airplane going, and we just sit down and discuss some stuff. And that's what we're here to do today. So, Blue, what are we talking about today, man?
Well, we got a lot we want to talk about in Flight Sim, period. But obviously the big thing is the PMDG 737 that, we've all been hearing the news about. We've all been watching the live streams about this week. It is not out yet. Neither of us have access to it, so we haven't, got to really put our hands on it per se, right? And fly it and feel it, but we're kind of like, we're just gonna share our opinions on how we feel.
Hold on. I'm not gonna cut you for a second.
Oh no.
Really? That's what you started with?
What?
I thought you were gonna start with the brand new airplane that's dropped on Microsoft Flight Sim, fully functional without a cockpit. I thought that's where you're gonna start. Oh my!
We gotta go there too. We gotta go there too.
Yeah. Let's start lighthearted. Blue. I'm
literally
sorry,
lighthearted.
Yeah, I know. Lighthearted, really. Can you believe it? I apologize, brother. I'm sorry. In 2022, you can buy an airplane in one of the most advanced simulators ever made without a cockpit. Can you believe that?
I can't. When I saw it, I thought it was a joke. And what we're talking about is, I'm just going to say the name, the Captain Sim C-130, right? That's the one You're talking about. They released this aircraft. C-130 is a great aircraft. I love military planes of all types, and so it's something I would definitely be interested in, but they released it without a cockpit. Has animated doors. I mean, the exterior modeling actually looks pretty darn good, but no interior cockpit. It's just, I've been in Flight Sim for a long time. I mainly come from X-Plane, but I've been in Flight Sim a long time, and I can't remember a time when an aircraft that you pay for comes out with no cockpit. Like, what?
Yeah. I've seen 2D cockpits with no airframe around it, but I've never seen the reverse.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah. So
let me know though in the chat. I'm just curious, have any of you guys bought this plane? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? What are your opinions on it? But yeah, for me personally, it's a no-go. It's a no-fly zone for me.
All right, devil's advocate here, because I heard that developers are overseas. There might be in the war zone that's going on in the world, and maybe there's a project they've been working on, and they did put in the description of it, no cockpit, right? They did put it, but still, though, I have to ask, who are you offering this to? Is it because it's Microsoft Flight Sim and you can play it on Xbox, perhaps? And is this a sign of things to come from other developers where they're going to just drop planes without cockpits so you could just fly around from the outside? What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering the same thing. Like, who is this made for? And I agree with you. I think that there are people who want to simulate, military operations, because we're getting some pretty good fighter jets in Microsoft Flight Sim. Since Microsoft has dropped the F-18 Super Hornet, they've added some tech that allows the other developers to make better quality fighter jets and military aircraft. So it just makes sense to start adding in some heavier military planes like C-130s and stuff like that. So, but I don't know. I think it's really just kind of a screenshot thing. If you're the kind of person who just likes to kind of get a plane in the air and take some screenshots for the Instagram or for social media, then it's definitely a great thing. But I don't know. I can't see myself flying because I'm personally. I know people out there are like this, and it's okay. Fly your own style. I always say, do what you want to do what you enjoy to do in flight sim. But for me personally, I don't enjoy flying from the outside view or flying from the outside view with all the HUD.
Wow. Somebody in chat says that's freeware territory. Nah, man, that's way beyond freeware. That's like nowhere territory. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know you have a project you're working and sitting on, but don't do it. It's just, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. Already there's a reputation for that developer. You add this to it now, everything you drop is just going to be like a meme. At this point.
It honestly already is, though. Like, let's think about it. It's rewind back to what was the first plane that Captain Sim released on Microsoft Flight Sim. It's all stays together. The 777-200, which was a Frankenstein 747. Now, I know that me and you, XP, have been flying this plane now.
Oh boy.
We're not going to really go there too far because now we're actually legit flying this plane. But when they first released it, we're like, oh my god, a new 777. We opened it up, I bought it, right? And I was like, it looks amazing. It has an amazing, beautiful exterior. It actually had an interior. At the time, there were no airliner with interiors, so I was like, okay, they're making some leaps. But then I realized it had the exact same cockpit of a 747, except it only had two knobs or two throttles on the visually, but in the systems, when you look at the actual screen, you see 4 engines. And I was like, come on, like you were able to the 3D model or somehow mod just 2 engine throttles in the cockpit, but you couldn't get rid of the extra 2 engines on the actual screen. Anyway, so that left a bad taste in my mouth. And from that point on, they've released the exact same quality of aircraft. Or actually, they really just taken the 777 and remodel it and use the exact same flight model, probably the same sounds, the same cockpit for the 777-300, for the 777 Freighter, for the 76700 they came out with. And now they're lowering the bar with the Captain Sim C-130. And the thing that worries me is that on their website, they like to use a word called expansion. And it makes me believe that like all these planes are like the base model that they're charging for $25, and they're gonna release in 10 years from now, when they finally get their act together, they're gonna release the extended version where it's actually a good plane. And I'm like, by then we're not gonna care or want it. So I don't know. And it's already just tainted their image on the quality they've been releasing. And on top of that, I personally feel sort of offended because they make flight sim look bad in general. Wow. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah. Shout out to Salty Sim for putting in the work and the effort to actually make that thing, I dare to say, enjoyable.
Yeah.
But as we know, what makes it enjoyable is the sounds and the systems, right? And Salty Mod, those guys have just done a tremendous job resurrecting that thing. No, not resurrection. It wasn't alive. It was dead. But just bring it to life, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And making it work. So them guys at Salty Simulation are doing just a heck of a job doing that stuff. To the point now they have, just a tangent, Salty Sim now has a 747 in the fly-by-wire installer.
Bro,
just
that
its own plane.
is a game changer. When I saw them announce that, I was like, yes, this is what we want. And back when we did the episode with Fly-by-Wire, they mentioned, opening, I think, I'm not going to take credit for it, but I feel like we had that discussion. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we incorporated other people to be able to update? And now you're able to update the Salty Simulation 747 mod within the Fly-by-Wire installer. So, I mean, I don't have to go fishing and looking to see, did the 747 update? Did the 747 update? Now I could just, it'll just, say, hey, it's updated whenever you open the installer. So it's pretty cool.
Yep. True, true. So, sorry to interrupt you, man. You can go back to your flow with the main discussion topic of the day because it's the elephant in the room. It just dominates everything that's out there right now in flight sim community.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Blue,
So here's the thing, though. I think there's a few
yeah.
things that actually before we get to the elephant, which is the PMDG 737. We all want to talk about that. But before we get there, I feel like the C-130 is a great place to start because it helps you appreciate what there is to come, right? So another thing that I want to talk about shortly, because we haven't done this show in what, about a month or so, however long it's been, and a lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed, a lot of things have released, and one of those things is the MD-11 for X-Plane 11. So, real quick, I don't want to stick on this topic too long, but what is your experience?
You know, great transition, my friend. I have to tell you because it leads us up to what's possible given the type of developer you are. And with the MD-11, we all anticipated that thing dropping and watch it being flown and go, yes, we want it. And somewhere along the line between different betas and the release version of it's I'm disappointed. That's it. I'm disappointed because I love the plane and I want to fly the heck out of that plane. I've flown it twice already and I've enjoyed, most that I could out of it. But the things that were lacking at the time when it came out and how it came out just was such a huge letdown, man. You know what I mean? It kind of like deflated you and how you're feeling. You're like, yes, I'm hyped. MD-11, freighter ops all over the place. The weird plane that's a mixture of a Boeing and an Airbus, right? And then it comes out and basic things are broken. Who knows? I'm not a developer. I can't program, but like now I understand why I shouldn't rush developers to get stuff out. Because we want them to take their time. And I think I've heard you said it before. Take their time, get it right, get it done, because you only get one time to make a first impression.
Oh yeah.
And I think it kind of beat them a little bit. I think they if they could redo it, they probably would have just waited a little bit longer and did some more testing before they released it, because it is going to be a great airplane. It's Rotate. We have the Rotate MD-80 that's working flawlessly, and the MD-11 is going to get there.
Yeah.
But it takes some tweak. I think there was 2 updates so far since it came out.
3 actually.
3?
One just came out yesterday.
Oh, I haven't seen the one yesterday.
Yeah.
So there you go. It is going to be good, but now how long is it going to take me to go back and fly that plane, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And as a developer, you want people flying your plane. You want eyes on the plane. You want people buying it. And when when you fly a plane, the first thing anybody comes in your chat, they're like, "How is it? Is it good? Is it exciting?" You know what I mean? They're watching you fly it and struggle, and they're still asking you, and you have to answer honestly, like, "There's some stuff wrong." You know what I mean? So I wish Rotate the best in take as much time as you need, step back, and then go at it and get it right and get it out to people. But it was disappointing, man, honestly. But I'm going to be flying the heck out of that plane once it's done. That plane is going to live on for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you. Only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes as well when it comes to third-party add-ons. And I felt the same. I was really excited, and this is kind of why I wanted to talk about it, because just like the PMDG 737, we are just extremely hype and excited about finally getting a high-fidelity Boeing 737 in this sim. To be honest with you, it's great that it's PMDG, but for me, like, because this will be my first airliner, like modern airliner from PMDG, so I'm not like tied to the PMDG name per se, right? So if anybody else were to come out and say, hey, I'm coming out with a high fidelity 737, I would probably be just as hyped, because it's just a 737. It's really the 737. And so with the MD-11, and being an MD-11, it's a plane that I personally really loved, and I love how it looks visually. It's loud in real life. It's just like it's just like a plane that just asks for attention when you see it in person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It does.
And when we had waited, was it how long? It was 4 years? I think 4 years for it to come out, maybe longer.
Yep.
And it finally releases. We're watching streamers stream it, and they're giving us really good feedback on it, and it's going great. And we're like, okay, cool. Release date drops, it comes out, we all flat, and it's broken. Our first impression is ruined. And so, yes, they came out with updates. I will commend Rotate though on. I mean, it took them what 6 days, 5 or 6 days to come out their first patch. Just just on the border of too long, but it was perfect. It was good. Since then, they've dropped 2 more or 3 more actually patches, and they're not only doing that, but they're testing patches on the phone, make sure they work. But now today, it's flying great, right? The latest update that came out yesterday, I heard great feedback on it. It's working really well. This has now been how long has it been since it actually released? Maybe 4-5 weeks or something like that. I'm not sure how long it's been, but the problem is with that first impression is they ruined the first impression, and now compared to how many people will be flying it if they didn't ruin the first impression, like, I think it's a dramatic difference, right? So if they would have just waited maybe 1 more month to release that plane, I'm not sure if they had like some kind of investor pushing them or who knows what it was, but even if they could have been like, all right, public beta, early access, I don't know, put whatever word you want to put on it, but when you release a product and say, hey, this is what we have and it's broken, the basic stuff, then you're going to lose a lot of people. And anybody who didn't already have a tie to the Rotate name, that name is now just dragged through the mud. So again, that's why like with PMDG, I'm like, all right, well, it's looking good on the stream so far.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I guess I've been hurt. Right. MD11 hurt me deep inside. Look, because I had a previous relationship with Rotate, the developer, and I loved their planes, and I was looking forward to their new plane, and it looked really good. The pictures looked good. The pre-release streams looked good, and then it released and just broke my heart. So with PMDG, I'm kind of like cautious. You know what I mean?
And it goes to show that how quick in the flight sim community now is in a state where how quick you could fall off the headline, the first page. How quick you're like on the first page headline, and then like a week later you're like not on it anymore. Something else comes and steals that thunder that you could have enjoyed a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So you got to be very cautious. As I said, I can't program, but still, these are like the basics, man. LNAV, VNAV's got to work. You know what I mean? If you put it in there, that's what I'm saying. So, hey, that's what it is. And so now we're here with bated breath, watching the going-ons of the 737-700 PMDG airline. That my first PMDG product as well will be. And we're here going, my first impression, if I want to get into that, is I like what I've seen so far. I have some caveats to that, but I generally overall I like what I've seen so far. And as you said earlier, yes, it's a 737, and I'm not going to say it didn't matter who brought it here, but as long as it was good. And PMDG has a reputation for good products. Never owned one before, and so I was saying behind the scenes that the hype that's been built up on this plane better live up to it.
Oh yeah. Can you? Me and you talked on the phone the other day. And this is kind of where this whole show idea came from, is basically us we have these discussions just one-on-one, sometimes with other people in our group chat. And you said something that stuck out to me, and I was hoping you would remember to say it tonight. And that was, you said that your live stream chat of P3D users really gave you high expectations for this plane. Can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, Rickenzie is in my chat. Rickenzie has had PMDG from FSX, P3D, and the NGXU. So he's one of the guys who can speak highly of them because he's got their products. But I have to tell you, everybody who's had PMDG, the level of expectation that they have set for me is very high, right? They've set a level of expectation for me that's very high, because you constantly hear that how good it is, how good they are, how good it's going to be. So even if I was trying to like damper my expectations and then make it surprise me how good it is, now my expectation is very high. And because of that, being a human being, I feel like I'm going to end up being more critical of this plane than I actually should be. But I am. You know what I mean? Because now I'm looking for not just the plane working, because that's like a given. It's working. We see it. I'm looking at the little details of it. And I know people don't want to go here, and I know people have gone here, but I am comparing it to the 737 that I'm flying now, which is the Zibo.
Oh boy.
Because exactly, it's a reference point for me as far as a quote unquote good 737. And I'm not the one that's saying the 737 Zibo is good. a real world pilot is saying that, right? So I'm going to take his word for it that it's good. So now I'm visually looking at that and this. Now, I'm not comparing the two sims because Microsoft is just way prettier than X-Plane any day of the week in its sleep. But I'm looking at sounds, I'm looking at roll rates, I'm looking at the twitchiness or the oscillation on landing and flying. I'm looking at graphics, trim wheel. Something hit me with the trim wheel. I'll talk about that later on. But overall now I'm doing that comparison. And because everybody says, hey, this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And will it live up to that? That's the question. I don't know when we get it in our hands, right?
Yeah.
Because of the MD11 situation.
Yeah. it's hurt us. You know, you don't know until you have it. And I think the comparison to Zeebo, there's no getting away from it. People coming from X-Plane are going to be comparing this to Zeebo. And I think the reason why is because for the longest time, you know, people have been comparing Zeebo to the PMDG 737 on P3D. And it's been kind of a debate, right? And I want to know what you guys think in the chat as well. What do you think? Who's better? PMDG 7.3 or the Zeebo 7.3? Send it. But yeah, there's been a long-term debate on that. And some people are strongly on, Zeebo's way better, this and that. And some people are like, no, P3D, PMDG is way better. So, I mean, I don't know because I don't have P3D. I have not flown it, so I can't say it. So for me, my comparison is going to come from Microsoft Flight Sim, right? Which may not be fair. I don't know, because we don't know if the P3D version may be better than the Microsoft version. I think that's going to be something I'm curious to see. What do P3D users think compared to the one they're used to flying? They've flown all over the world. How is that going to compare to what we're going to get in Microsoft Flight Sim? You know, P3D and the makers of the 737 on PMDG for Microsoft Flight Sim are kind of talking a lot in their post about how Microsoft is unlocking so much potential and making a lot of things that they couldn't do before, you know, doable. And I'm like, well, what are these things that you couldn't do before? Because again, I'm not a developer. I don't code. I don't know anything about those little things. So I'm just curious about all that kind of stuff. Again, from what I saw, personally, it looks great visually. I know that they have a few tweaks to do visually. I know some people have complained about the engines and some of the livery textures. I actually just looked at the forum earlier, and the guy, I don't know, the PMDG guy, I don't know his name, he commented on that and basically said that a lot of the streamers right now are flying in a version or flying with versions of the liveries that are from October of last year. So even though they may have a more updated actual aircraft, all the liveries are flying are actually from versions and versions ago. So, I mean, again, obviously, when you look at these streams that they're doing, it's a work in progress. Nothing is final, nothing is done. So I personally expect that every single livery be freaking pristine on release day. If I see a low... we're gonna get on them. We're gonna be on that. You know what I mean? If I see a low res engine in there bro, you better hold it. I don't care if you guys don't care about engines. Hold the release if you can't get the engines right, because we're gonna dog it. But I'm hoping for the best.
Here's a question from the chat, which is actually a legitimate question. And it's posted by, hold on, where'd it go? Chat's moving so fast. Do you think it's fair to compare planes from two different developers on two different platforms? That's from Malziex. Malziex, thanks for the question, man. Do you think it's fair to compare two different planes on two different platforms in 2022?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because it's 2022. And if it were a plane from 2022 and a plane from 2015, I would say no. Now maybe that's the thing. When did the PMDG 7.3 come out on P3D? Was it, because that's a freaking old sim. So I don't know. It just hasn't. I'm not gonna go there because I don't know the background of that. But comparing today, I think it's fair to compare from sim to sim. Obviously, there's sim differences,
right?
But which you can't get around. X-Plane has limitations. P3D has limitations. Microsoft Flight Sim has limitations. They all have limitations. So the developer's job is to find out how to work with those limitations, sometimes push beyond those limitations to make the best product possible. And we've seen and witnessed what can be done with some of the add-ons that we have. And when another developer, is not able to do it, it's not expected for everybody to do the exact same thing. But we see, it's possible to do for example, in-cabin sounds that work with a livery on, and load up a plane and loads up the configuration of the freaking Wi-Fi antennas. And like, it's possible. We know that's possible, but very few developers are doing it. So.
Yeah. By the way, somebody in chat, Cam A321 cough said, "What's a 737?" But look, it is fair, and I'll tell you why. Right now, I have the A320 mod, which is a default plane, but the guys who modded the A320 are rock stars, and they've implemented so much in that plane. It's absolutely ridiculous how nice it is, right? And I love flying it. But I still compare it to flying the TOLUS and the flight factor A320. How should I say it? I compare it system. You can compare. Can't compare textures because the textures in Microsoft is just so good. You know what I mean? But you can compare systems, and yes, you can compare flight models. Now, is that the developer's fault or the sim's fault for the flight model? It's going to be the sim's fault more than likely. I understand. I'm going to hold on to that X-Plane has a smoother feeling sim than Microsoft Flight Sim right now. When I get my hands on the 737 from PMDG, we'll see what they're able to squeeze out of that sim and how good they're going to be able to make it. But I think you can compare it. I think you can. I know PMDG is like systems deep, like really good systems deep. So is Zebo. It's got some system in there that I don't even use a quarter of it. But whenever I watch Flight Deck Sim use it, I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know it does this. And do I even want to get that detailed in the way I fly that airplane? So I think you can make a comparison. We all do anyway. We do it every time we fly P3D and FSX. It's always a fight in the chat and the stream, like which is better, which is different. I want the best from both sims. That's what I want. You know what I mean?
I agree. So I have a little debate going on in my chat that I want to address. I don't want to get everybody involved in, and I don't think it's going to be a long one, but you can chime in on what you think about this. Some people are saying they think that, from what I understand, they think that this PMDG 737 is a copy from the P3D 737. Like, it's not as original as they think. Now, I personally don't think that's true based on what I've read, that they said they've completely recreated it, but I don't know. It seems that some people believe this is a port over, right? What do you think?
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the P3D videos and see if it's a port. Now, if I'm a developer, and I can port something, I'm gonna port as much as I can. It just saves me that much work to do. Is it right to say it's from the ground up if you port some stuff? I mean, you own the files. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not. Look, if it's good and it looks good, I'm not mad at it. If it's a port, not at all. If it's a bad port, we're gonna talk about that. Like, you should have left that over there and came up with something new over here. But, and I've never heard that before. But look, I wouldn't be. I'm not mad at PMDG if they ported some stuff over. If it works for them then, and it's working good now, why not? And go for it.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't believe it's a port personally. I mean, I haven't played the P3D version, but again, just based from what I've been reading from the forums and hearing and everything that PMDG themselves have been saying about how long it's taking them, how they had to basically start over from scratch and learning things, it sounds like it's a brand new plane. Again, I agree with you though. If it is a port, then as long as it's good, as long as it still has high quality, like why do it as like the stumbling block that PMDG has is not the what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the reference material, right? It's the actual getting it into Microsoft Flight Sim, is getting the systems working in Microsoft Flight Sim, is getting the flight model, and all that kind of stuff. That's where the real hurdle is. It's not so much the can I get pictures of a wing? Can I get reference photos of a Boeing 737, stuff like that, right? I do wish, based on what I've seen in the screenshots and in the videos, I wish it was a bit more dirty. A lot more dirty. It's too clean for me. I think all planes in Microsoft Flight Sim are way too freaking clean.
Yeah, those wings on the 787 are just like pristine white, like ridiculous. I think I've heard or read where they try to give it more texture, like older textures, and I think like because of the affiliation with Boeing, they're like, no, you can't do that. I could be wrong. I think I heard that. So in their defense, I think that's why they didn't make it more textures as what we have seen with the Phoenix coming up. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but here's one thing I'm gonna disagree with everybody on, and everybody keeps saying it. I've seen the cabin, and the cabin is not.
It's not
good.
what?
It's not good. Yeah, it's not bad and it's not good. It's just a cabin. I've seen more detailed cabin in Microsoft Flight Sim. Just put it that way. You understand? But I mean, I don't want him to concentrate on the cabin. I want him to concentrate on the systems, the flight model, and the flight deck.
So does that break your immersion? Is that a game breaker? Are you gonna not buy this plane because the cabin is
hell no.
Okay?
I'm flying the 7.8, the A320, and the 7.4 Microsoft right now with a box for the window. Okay, I'm good, man. Yeah.
I feel like personally, for the cabin, I want to have a cabin. Right? We want to have one. For me, it doesn't really matter too much how detailed. I don't want it to be like Minecraft looking. I don't, but it has to be at least there. It has to be visible. And I think the most important part of a cabin is the windows. If you could just turn up the resolution on the window seals, imagine how much of a game breaker that is. Like, think about the 320, the 7.4, 787, where it's all they have. They have like 3 window boxes, right, for your camera to sit in. But that little box is pretty high res. And honestly, if you can get a really believable view, if you just place the camera right behind that little, the oval of the window, and if people could take that hint, and when they're making cabins, don't focus so much on the seats and the textures of the seats and the galley and all that kind of stuff. You want to have it there, but if you can make that window seal look nice, it's makes for some really good wing views.
Exactly. I was going to say, you just want your wing views to look good. That's why.
Yeah. That's why.
I hear you, man. Definitely, I hear you. Somebody says Zebo's got the best cabin between the two, and I looked at the
obviously. Come on, that's not even fair at this point. That's not even fair. Like, they got freaking Austin in the cabin of Zebo. I know. You can customize the cabin,
and that's with time. And quite a few people contributing to it versus a company that have limited resources, limited time. So, that's the thing. Look, some people in the chat are saying it's ported over, some saying it's not, some say it's from the ground up. It is controversial. I think when we get our hands on it, it's going to answer a lot of our questions, or hopefully answer a lot of our questions. Here's one question I did ask some people, though, in my chat. I'm like, all right, when the PMDG is finally available to be bought by us, are you going to delete your Zebo? I've asked that question.
Oh my God. What do you guys think, chat? I want to hear what they say. Are you? I'm laughing because I'm deaf. Anyway, are you going to delete Zebo? Are you going to delete X-Plane? Are you going to delete P3D? Are you going to delete your other sim? Your alternate sim? Is Microsoft going to become your primary sim when this plane comes out? I want to know. And for me to answer this question, I'm going to just go ahead and say no. Right now on my system, I have 2 flight sims: Microsoft Flight Sim and X-Plane 11, and soon to be X-Plane 12, which I don't know if I'm going to delete 11 when 12 comes out. That's the real question for me. Anyways, we're not going to go there yet.
Yo, pure in my chest says to delete Zebo is a sin.
It is. If you delete Zebo, you might as well just wipe your whole Windows on your PC. I think. But yeah, I'm not deleting. I'm not deleting my own sim.
Let me tell you what my fears are, and I could talk, right? We're among friends, right? Just me and you talking.
Yeah, it's just us.
The fear is that I already have developed a bias for Microsoft Flight Sim because it looks so good, because you can go to these different destinations on a whim and don't have to worry about scenery.
Yep.
You understand? Or installing what do you call those things for scenery? Scenery packs or whatever. Now, will that now make me, because I have a 737 in Microsoft, because I have an A320 and more planes to come, am I going to slowly just start drifting away from X-Plane? I'm going to start drifting because of the scenery thing. Because plane wise, Microsoft is young. X-Plane's got the A300, the MD-11, MD-88, ton right now. But am I going to be biased and drift away because I have the most popular Boeing and the most popular Airbus in a simulator? What do you think? Might there be drift?
There'll definitely be drift. I'm not deleting X-Plane, but there's going to be a big drift for sure, because when it comes to me deciding what to stream, it kind of comes down to, all right, where am I flying? right? And then once I decide where I'm flying, or honestly, to be honest with you, it kind of, for me personally, starts with the livery. I'm like, all right, what livery do I want to fly? What airline do I want to fly? Or what location or region do I want to fly? All that kind of comes together. Once I decide that, I'm like, all right, X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Sim. And that all depends on whether I have scenery in that area for X-Plane. If I don't have scenery in X-Plane for it, then I'm flying Microsoft Flight Sim. Or sometimes if I do have scenery for it in X-Plane, I may still choose Microsoft Flight Sim because it's raining or it's snowing or the weather is interesting. And in Microsoft Flight Sim, as of right now, before X-Plane 12, is a lot more interesting. So there's a lot of reasons for me to choose Microsoft over X-Plane in a lot of cases. But the aircraft that we love are still there and are still just as enjoyable on our old sims. And I think we're going to keep going back to our P3Ds, to our X-Plane, because we love those planes. Like somebody said in the chat, a lot of the planes that we love and enjoy are not going to be Microsoft Flight Sim for a while. You know, the 777s, the 787s, the Challenger 650, stuff like that. We're not going to see those come to Microsoft Flight Sim for a while. So we're always going to go back to our sim for sure.
Yep. Captain Amby says, absolutely, I won't go back to X-Plane for a while when the PMDG drops. Well, that I could see because,
I could see in like 3 weeks of flying a 737. We're like, what is X-Plane?
Right. But then Greg, in my chat, the Groove Drum Cover says, for those who run multiple TV screens or monitors, Microsoft is currently not supported. So X-Plane 11 by default, as far depth of field goes, it's better right away, alone. So there's gives and takes of people giving and taking, certain things. Like I have my iPad with my web FMC on there, and I'm like, we need to get something like that in Microsoft Flight Sim. If you guys don't know what web FMC is, it's my FMC on my iPad. You know what I mean? I have that, and there's little things that X-Plane has because we have had it so long, and P3D for the P3D guys as well. Microsoft doesn't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna get there. So I guess the answer to the question is no. Nobody's going to delete Zebo or stop flying the other sim.
Not deleting Zebo, not deleting X-Plane. Right. We may go on a little bit of vacation from X-Plane. Yeah. Take some PTO. We'll go on a little bit of but yeah, we'll definitely be back. And plus, as it's been proven the past 2 years since Microsoft has been out, that X-Plane ain't going nowhere. We got 12 coming out real soon. We got more planes coming out, releasing. Where it's going to really get interesting is in the future when we get a lot of these aircraft in Microsoft Flight Sim. The INI builds, the Phoenix A320, Mad Dog is on the horizon as well with the MD80, I think you call it.
And 757 as well.
757 is in the mix right now, on the way. A220s, A380s. I mean, pretty much everything you want is on the way. We just don't know how far it is or how long it's going to take. So hoping the 737 will hold us until they do come out. But we all want our wide bodies. We want our big jets. That's what's going to be next. And PMDG's already announced that the 777 is already in the works, even during the testing of the 737. So it's going to be definitely interesting.
Now, look, let's talk about PMDG still. I mean, a lot of people seem to think that in 4 to 6 months, they're going to drop to 800. And then in another 8 months to a year, they're going to drop the 747 to 777. I don't think so. I think it's going to take them another year to drop it.
That's the thing I'm curious about, based on what they've been mentioning. Is like, how long are these gaps between variants going to be? Are we going to wait 6 months for 800? Are we going to wait another 6 months for the 9? Like, how long is that going to take?
Let me give you my opinion. It's just an opinion.
All right.
Don't get mad, guys, about why I think it's going to be longer. Let me address another subject that I've been harping about behind the scenes. Why the 700 and not the 800 first in Microsoft Flight Sim?
Bro,
why
it's
the
strategic. That's what it is.
My opinion, and it's only opinion.
All right, what's your opinion?
Mr. Randazzo, if you're listening, I'm not trying to knock your business model, man. But, we're talking among friends and sim partners and sim communities. I believe the 700, as you say, is strategic. It is a strategic thing. You understand? I think it, in other words, let me just say it. It comes down to you having to own two Boeings, 273s. Because the 800s is by far the most popular one. You understand? But you're not going to say, you know what, I'm just going to wait till the 800 drop. I'll bypass 700. Hell no, you're going to get your wallet. You're going to be picking up the 700 the day it comes out. You understand? Because that's what you do. You're a simmer. So, I think Hassan, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I think it's strategic to get the 700 out the way. You will pick it up. You will fly it. I like the 700, and then when the 800 comes, you're gonna be buying it. And I'm telling people that apart from flight feel and flight model wise, it's the same airplane. It's not a different airplane. So, but I think it's gonna be 9 months, a year. I could be wrong. That's my guess. It's only a guess. What do you think?
I hope it ain't that long. I don't think it's gonna be that long, but I think I agree with you on that. And I honestly I think it's smart. It's definitely strategic. The order that they're deciding to release the variants. I don't hate the idea of selling them separately. I at first I was like, I don't know if I like that. You gotta buy the 737-800 with the cargo and BBJ together, and then you buy the 737-800 with the cargo and BBJ together. Then you buy the 900 separately with everything together. I don't hate that because then you don't have to buy the one you don't want. I think down the road, when all these are already out and somebody's just getting in the flight simulator, they don't have to buy them all. They can just buy the one variant that they want. But for us right now, who already want the plane, who are already playing the game and waiting for it, we're going to be basically forced to buy the 700, which, it's a good plane. A lot of people like the 700, but personally, it's not the one I choose. Again, I'm with you. My favorite is the 800, and I can care less about the rest. The 737-800 and the Max. Those are the two versions that I care about, and then the cargo version. Other than that, everything else I can care less about. So, yes, I think it's super smart to drop the 700 first. Rake up the cash on that. As a business decision, that's a good decision as a developer to release the least popular one, as people are still anticipating the one they really want. Well, I mean, the least popular one. And they're all waiting for the 800. We're going to buy the 800 again, right? And then after that, sales is going to drop off. It's going to be a few people who want the 900, very few people who want the 600. So, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the 7 and the 8. That's a definite yes for me. Dylan was saying that they said that they made the 700 first because it's easier to code. I don't think so.
I don't believe that.
It's the same plane except just a stretched body with a different flight model.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I can be wrong. Trust me. I've been wrong plenty of times. I think I could be wrong on that the way it is. Jamnik was saying PMDG, hopefully Asobo drops a debugging tool so that they can debug their planes easier from 10 hours to 1 minute. That might make it. But as far as them releasing, Captain AB says 6 weeks per variant or maybe longer. It wouldn't be wise for them to drop the 700 now and literally 6 weeks later drop the 800. It just wouldn't be.
Well, I mean, based on what they're saying, it makes sense to do. 6 weeks. Yeah, it makes sense because their plan, as they say, is to release the first one and start coming out with updates literally every 2 weeks for it after that, and then release the 800 and then continue the update cycle. We're going to be in this early adoption plan, they call it, which is basically another way of saying early access without saying early access. So it makes sense. But I've never heard of any developer do something like this before, where they could release multiple variants of a plane within a month or two, right? It's usually, think about the A300 versus the A310 from I&I Builds on X-Plane. How long did it take that the first one's a 300, the 310 came out a year later, I think, or somewhere near that. And that's just another variant of a 310. Both of those are mainly cargo planes. So I don't know how different they are. So I don't know. I think you could be right. 6 months.
We could be wrong. I think he could be embarking on a new kind of business model. Going, you all are going to buy all the variants anyway, so I'm just going to give you all the variants within short time of each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus, let's say, let me let you wait 6 months and then we drop the other one when you really, really want it, or goes, here's all of them. Pick you one you want. Because 6 weeks, I just think it's a short time.
There is a Max coming too.
Right.
I don't know. That's probably going to be the last one, most likely, because that's what everybody wants as well. So they'd be smart to hold that off until the very last version. So they say they want to do the entire Boeing, 737 family, which does include the Max. So they didn't say much about the Max, but we know that the Max is going to be a part of that. So we don't know when that's going to be.
I would love for PMDG to make a Max. I would definitely love for them to make a Max. I would be scooping that up like ASAP immediately. So yeah. Now here's the deal. I bet everybody's asking a release date, release date. So I'm saying it's after Sim Update 9 comes out. It's coming out the 25th. Somebody just said in
Sim
chat.
Update. I just had it up. Sim Update 9 comes out on. The chat's probably gonna beat me to it. I just had it up. Jeez, where's
The
it?
25th. I was seeing
26th. It's April 26th, which is
Right.
like a week, like a few days actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like really soon.
yeah, 26th. There it is. Yeah, and so I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that a day after the 26th they drop it. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
wait, that's next week.
Yeah, that is next week.
Holy crap, that's next week.
I'm hoping it's next week. Yeah.
So they mentioned the reason from what I heard in their forum or read in their forum, they wanted to release it before Sim Update 9, but because Sim Update 9 most likely will break everything like it usually does, they want to wait till after. So if my personal prediction is if Sim Update 9 is on the 26th and they're waiting for that, give them a week of testing after that's out, right? Which would be the week of the 3rd, and then maybe they'll probably announce the release date, which would be a week later. So the week of the 11th is my personal prediction. I don't actually have any insight. That's 3 weeks from now.
Right.
So that's my personal prediction based on, again, from what I saw in streams. It looks pretty good. It looks flyable, but there are a few bugs, but we do know they're working on them. And they're waiting on Sim Update 9. I would say I would not expect them to release it on the same week as Sim Update 9 unless Microsoft has some master plan of like, oh, we're gonna release it with Sim Update 9. But I think it's gonna be afterwards. Yeah, still we're waiting on engine sounds, engine spool up, a lot of things that are incomplete with the version that we're watching on streams right now. So they have a lot more, not a lot of work to do, but they have just kind of like the final touches that are really gonna make this plane hopefully shine. So speaking of sound, from watching the streams, XP, I know the sound is incomplete. Right, so it's disregarding startup sounds and some of the things that's not working. What do you think so far of the sounds that you've heard in the streams?
One of the first comments I get from somebody goes, "Wow, these are the best 7.3 sounds they have ever heard." That was the first comment I got.
You said that?
Okay. No, not me. Somebody said it to me in one of my streams. And I went back and I did a couple of replays of the sound, and you can hear it from the cockpit, which is nice. You could hear that whine sound. The jury's still out for me on the sound, honestly, because you know what? One streamer was streaming it louder than the other streamer.
Yeah.
Right. So one person's sound was turned down, one person's sound was turned way up, and I'm like, which is it? So I don't have a. My jury's still out on the sound for me. It really is. You understand? I think that I can't determine from what I've watched on the streams to see if the sounds are good or not. I don't know if that's a good thing because, I kind of was expecting to be blown away from the sound, like from jump right away. Oh, these are the best. And I kind of wasn't. So I'm waiting to see maybe whoever was streaming it didn't turn it up properly or right or whatever. Plus, it's not complete. So somebody says average sound. Somebody says 10 out of 10. It just depends on, who you talk to. But me, I wasn't swayed like, oh, my God, this is all good. Nah, I still had reservations of it. But I got to give them till release to say this is what the sound's going to be. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I kind of feel similar because when I heard it, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Again, it's not done, so I'm very careful of forming an opinion too early, and we're kind of getting close to that territory right now. So, just my first impressions on the unfinished sounds were like, okay, this is not bad. This is better than all the default planes in my opinion, but it's not like it doesn't blow me away. And it's not amazing, but also when you're listening to sounds on streams, unless the streamer really turns that sound up and really boosts it into your headphones, you're not really getting the full experience. You know what I mean? Whenever I stream sound mods and things like that, I try to shut up and turn the sound up and let people just enjoy the engine start, the takeoff roll, all that kind of stuff, so you can really hear it if you have headphones on. And even then, it still kind of gets distorted through the live stream. So I can't Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to get it myself and have it and hear it through my own system. And I mean, when I do my first flight, freaking, it's gonna be booming, man. I'm gonna have it turned up 150% because I want to hear every little thing. You know, I work at the airport, so even at the airport, we're supposed to wear what we call personal protective equipment, which is called PPE. So you have your headphones or earplugs in, which I do wear because I don't want to damage my hearing. But there's a few times like I'm gonna leave them off because I want to see what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Because you know it muffles it. So I you know, not all the time, very rarely now. I've heard them now, so I'm very keen on the sound. So the 7.3, I'm hoping it's good. But if it stays the way it is right now, there's going to be a sound pack from somebody else. So that's all I'm saying.
Wow. Yeah, I hear you. One thing I noticed too that I mentioned before too, other than sound, there's one particular graphic thing that bothers me. And I think I've been spoiled. And I think this is a sim issue. I don't think this is a PMDG issue at all. The animation of the trim wheel in it doesn't seem fluid to me. It seemed like a 2D graphic. Like I don't know how to explain it. When you look at the trim wheel in X-Plane 11, it turns very smoothly. When you're looking at it in Microsoft Flight Sim, it's notchy. It's not that fluid motion.
Is that just only the 7.3, or is this for any plane?
Well, it's the only one that actually has a trim wheel that moves.
That is true.
So we don't really notice it. We don't look at, and I think if you look at the flap lever as well, I think in the A320, it's kind of like a delayed reaction. The animation, the way they make the animation of it's not snappy. I think it's a sim thing though. I think that's definitely Microsoft.
I know the trim as a whole has always been a problem with Microsoft Flight Sim. And you really notice the most when flying GA planes, because when you're flying an airliner, I mean, yes, you're supposed to be trimming, but especially in an Airbus, you're not trimming. Like, you rarely do as much trim because you're usually on autopilot. But for us people who do generate aviation flights and like flying little aircraft, we all know that Microsoft Flight Sim has horrible trim. Like, it's almost impossible to get it perfectly straight and level when flying, because like you cannot just fine tune the trim. It doesn't matter what trim switch you use, doesn't matter what hardware you use, it's just impossible to do. So I'm hoping with the 737, and I haven't really heard anything yet, but I'm hoping with PMDG that they've been able to find a way to make that better.
Somebody in the chat, a couple of people in the chat says also the yoke. If you look at the yoke itself, the yoke does the same kind of lag, delayed reaction kind of thing. You know what I mean? Who trims an Airbus? Actually, the Airbus trim wheel moves, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. The Airbus trim wheel moves as well, but it's automatic.
Yeah.
The first time I flew an Airbus on the sim, I was manually trimming it, and I ended up nose down in the water. Didn't know why. So,
but back to the yoke and trim. That it's something I didn't pay attention to in the streams, but hopefully they'll fix that. Again, I think some of these things, and this actually leads me to my next question, which is the answer to the last question. I think some of these things need to be fixed before release. I think it's unacceptable to have those problems on release. My question to you is, XP, what are some things that you may have seen, or just in general, what are some things that need to be working 100% before they consider even telling us a release date?
I think they're actually already working, and everything else I'm just probably nitpicking on. So LNAV and VNAV seems to be rock solid. You need that to work, period. You understand? And those work. The autopilot system works very good in that airplane based on everything that I've seen. The one we can't determine until we get our hands on it is the flight dynamics. The flight dynamics needs to be good, man. I think it will let the plane down if it's not good. And that also is going to be a Microsoft Flight Sim thing, and not a PMDG thing. You know what I mean? Everything else is cosmetic and can work. Somebody in the chat says that Chewy said that the animation FPS is low right now because of pre-release, and somehow they're going to get it working for the full release of it. So it's like a low FPS animation.
That's so weird right now, because like their frames, like their global frames for the sim is like great. It's like it looks like it's performing beautifully on your FPS, but somehow the animations are low FPS. I'm not sure how that even works.
Right. So so it's probably just still in testing, but so the core things are flight model, autopilot system and the FMC, and I think 2 out of those 3 is proven to be working already properly. We won't know flight model until we get our hands on it with our yokes and see what it feels like and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sounds, if it's not the best, it won't kill it, because FT Sim or somebody's gonna drop like a sound mad for it. You know what I mean? You know what they are. Shouldn't have to, but somebody will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's shown that with the INI Builds A300, those guys just dropped that thing and everything was like on point, like day one. So yeah.
I think INI Builds, shout out to them. They're the standard for day one release quality.
Mm-hmm.
So far.
Yeah.
That's on X-Plane though. One thing I want to add, one thing I'm excited about on the flight model side is flying a PMDG 737 in Microsoft Flight Sim with my Thrustmaster TCA yoke. That is something I'm looking for. I hope that is just an amazing experience. 'Cause I remember, and I know I got my eyes closed. I'm like imagining right now, like flashback. That I remember the first time I flew the Zebo 737 with, and I know you had this experience too. When you first time flying the Zebo 737 on X-Plane 11 with the TCA yoke was like, oh, this just feels right. And so that's what I'm expecting. I mean, again, I'm not a real 737 pilot. I really don't have any credibility when talking about flight models. But when flying with the TCA yoke in the Zebo, it just felt right. And that's what I'm kind of hoping for. And I mean, maybe maybe I'm expecting too much from PMDG, but I'm hoping, and I think it's extremely important. I haven't heard much from the streamers yet about what it flies like, really. So you guys can let me know if you heard anything. But I don't know how it's gonna be, because I think this is gonna be a make or break moment for Microsoft Flight Sim's life. Why do I say that? Because PMDG, the top of the top, like these guys are like the top people. This is the Apple of Flight Sim. If they can't get the flight model to work for them, then all hope may be lost. And a lot of people are going to lose respect for Microsoft Flight Sim and the systems in Microsoft Flight Sim. And go back to X-Plane, go back to P3D, because everybody, all the hardcore flight simmers, the people who are like, they're going to be like, no, Microsoft Flight Sim has a horrible flight model. It's crap. It's not a real sim. It's a game. So you know what it's going to be.
Yeah, I know. By the way, real quick, I'm going to drop a poll in chat, because this is probably one of the last things on this thing we're going to talk about is we're going to take a guess at what the price is. So I'm going to drop a poll. You can probably drop it too in yours. Yep. Between 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, or 80 to 120. So 4 categories, So I'm going to drop that right now. We'll see what people think. It's just a guess, We don't know what it's going to be. No idea. But I want to drop that poll in chat and see what these guys think it is going to be, because it would be interesting to know, what everybody think it's going to be worth with, what we've seen, what we expect. How's you going to change your flying and all that stuff. So, hit up the poll, guys, because we're gonna at the end of all of this, you're gonna do your results, I'm gonna do my results, and see where people think it's gonna fall.
I'm personally voting for free 99. So that's PMDG, hit me up, hit me and XP up. You need more YouTubers on your side. I'm just saying. Shout out to XP, just hit 28 subs. I know he ain't gonna say it, but I'm gonna shout him out. He just hit 28,000 subs, bro. So congrats to you, bro. Anyways, I know that's a little plug from my friend.
I mean, we kind of talked about a little bit about who got the plane and who didn't get the plane to fly, as and it's solely up to the developer. Who he's comfortable with, who he can trust to present the product the way he wants to, and so forth and so on. But flight sim community is growing. The more eyes you get out there, it can't hurt. You know what I mean?
And I think the people they chose so far have done a great job of presenting.
Oh yeah, Chewy,
Flying Fabio,
his excitement,
British
Flying Fabio, I
Avgeek.
dropped in on a whole different perspective. Avgeek, everybody who's flying it before has done an excellent job showcasing that plane. I could definitely say that.
There's a German guy that we never heard of. He's been doing his thing as well. There's a few other beta testers. I've been catching their videos, so it's been really cool watching these videos and seeing and learning. I've actually, I've been flying the Zebo 7.3 for years, and with this release, I'm actually learning a lot of new things about the Boeing 737.
It's good. That's good. But aren't you happy that you had a 7.3 to fly before this one comes out? So when this one drops, you're not a total noob.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
jump in that thing, no tutorials, and just go. With the
You really,
MD-11, I spent 2 hours on the ground trying to figure out how to fly that. The Challenger came
right.
out, spent 3 hours on the ground trying to figure that out. Freaking the Dash 8 came out, figure two. Like it's so stressful. You're like, I just want to fly the plane, but you're like going through the manual and
Yeah.
reading, watching tutorials of people's live stream. It takes you 3 hours to get to the point. So yeah.
So are you saying you're not going to use a checklist, my friend?
Oh no, I'm using the checklist. Just not just maybe later.
It's a mental checklist.
Later.
Oh,
It's
by the
gonna
way,
be.
just real quick, with the checklist thing, I heard the guy one of the developers of the IXEG 737-300 says, listen, his instructor told him it's a checklist, not a read and do list. You get that?
That's good.
Meaning that you should know this plane like the back of your hand. It's not a plane that you should be reading the list going, okay, oh, I need to do this next and this next and this next. I'm just saying.
That's what I've been doing. So I've been
Yeah,
I've been
exactly.
checklisting wrong.
Right.
Checklist been my. I think a lot of us been checklisting wrong. We've been listing.
Yeah.
We do the list and then check.
Memory, exactly. Memory item. So, you know what I mean? Wow. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's coming out. It's almost like when Microsoft Flight Sim dropped.
It feels a lot like when Microsoft was about to come out. Like this hype right here. It feels a lot like right before Microsoft Flight Sim came out. I don't know if it's gonna be as globally hyped as a brand new flight simulator.
Right.
So I don't really know the extent of the reach of a 737 coming to the sim for people who are maybe not so like, for the people who are not really flight simmers and more gamers and like kind of have a slight interest in it. I think a lot of people I've seen in the chat and multiple streams we've done, a lot of people are going to be coming back to flight sim because of this plane. A lot of people are going to be buying Microsoft Flight Sim for the first time because of this game, this plane. So, but I don't know if it's going to have the same reach as We'll see what Xbox does. I wonder if Xbox is going to get involved. That's the reason why Microsoft got such a big promotion when that came
hold
out.
on. Let's talk about Xbox. As far as I know, it's not going to be available for Xbox. Yeah.
Not initially.
Not initially.
No. But the plan is to go on Xbox.
Interesting.
Eventually. I don't know how long that's going to take, but they're going to bring...
Right.
I don't know if the DC6 is back on Xbox or not, but I know they intend to have all their products available on Xbox for Xbox users.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. It's a game changer. I guess we can use that word, meaning that we did that poll a few episodes ago about people moving to Microsoft, X-Plane, P3D. I heard Chewy said that he's not going back to fly the NG in P3D anymore. He's going to stick with the Microsoft version.
Actually, I asked him in his chat, but his chat was going 100 miles an hour. I don't think he saw it. I was like, so are you retiring from P3D now? But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to give it up just yet. He has a lot more stuff on P3D that he enjoys. And I mean, when you get to the point that he's at, and even to the point that we're at, right, in our own flight sims, that we have so much invested in our sim. We have so much scenery, so many planes. It's like, we enjoy our sim. Yeah, Microsoft is great, but like, we already are content and happy with the sim that we're in right now.
Yeah, that is true. We are content with it and continue to be so, but we're going to be diverted for a little bit on Microsoft Flight Sim because of the 737.
Oh yeah. You won't see very many X-Plane. I'm trying to get all my X-Plane obligations out the way before release day. I got a few sceneries I got to show off. You know what I mean? It's great.
I mean, speaking of which, the other day, I took the chance and I did a long haul with the Captain Sim, modded by the Salty mod. Let me call it this way: the Salty modded 737. It's a Salty modded 777, and everybody seemed to enjoy that stream and like seeing it. You know what I mean? And now I'm about to go do another long haul with the A330 mod, the Headwind A330, which it's a variation of the A320 mod, but they've change the cockpit somewhat, the textures, the wings, the cabin. And so I have all these new options in Microsoft Flight Sim to fly now. And I'm taking advantage of them, man. I'm taking advantage of them.
I'll definitely say you're taking a chance as well.
Well, true. Yeah, that's true.
You're taking a chance because some of these planes are like, they're kind of be, sketchy. But the developer community's been amazing, and they've been doing some really good mods that are getting better and better over time. Salty's been stepping the game up. That plane's actually really good. I mean, the features in that FMC they've done, like, it's crazy the amount of features they put into the Salty mod that we still haven't got in the 787 with Microsoft Flight. Sorry, I have X-Plane. Sorry. So
yeah,
it's pretty amazing, man.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, Aerosoft is going to come out with an A330 that they're working on.
Yes.
They show some pictures of that. I don't know how deep that's going to be system wise, but we're going to have that in there.
Someone's also working on a 757. Don't know how deep that's going to be. I'm definitely excited for a 75. I'm excited for the A330 as well. I'm more excited about the 75. Just my favor is in that direction, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. We know PMDG's got the whole Boeing thing kind of wrapped up out. It'd be kind of funny and interesting if somebody else is like, hey, I got a 737 too.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the chances are somebody else like, yo, I got this P3D. Step back, hold my Biscoff cookie.
Look, unlike previous Sims, I think we're going to have room in Microsoft for multiple vendors making the same airplane. I think so. Because each of them are going to bring their own style and flavor to it. And if somebody decided to come out with a 800 within the next couple of months and with different textures in the cockpit, a little bit more worn, you know what I mean? Yeah, we'd jump on that too. You know what I mean? A little bit more rattles and squeaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we'd jump on that, and that would be nice. I agree. Yeah, the 7.5 is also going to be coming out, but what's the time factor on these things, though? Are we talking about 6 months, a year, 3 months?
No, man. I mean, based on how long it took the 7.3 to be made, which was going on, it's about 3 years now. From the stage that I'm seeing the A330 from Aerosoft, I'm not expecting to see that for another year. They just dropped the Twin Otter. They did the CRJ and then the 900 1000. And it could be about a year, maybe at least 7 to 8 months. And to be clear earlier about the 757, it was not a PMDG 757. It was somebody else. I don't know who the developer is, but somebody else is making it. But that one also, in the screenshots that I saw, were also in very early stages. I mean, they had like very low res skeleton of I think it was a exterior shot of it. So it's gonna be a while. Yeah, Just Sim, I guess is who's making it, and it's also the Mad Dog we talked about earlier, MDA 80, which should be pretty close to release.
Well, hold on. Talking about airplanes, you guys in the sim community are something else, man. We have a whole plane that just dropped and was just showcased. And none of you guys asked me to fly it. None of you guys asked me to look at it. None of you guys even talk about it. The BAE 146 for Microsoft Flight Sim.
Wait, is that out?
Jet. Is it out?
Is that out?
Well, they've been showing a lot of it. I don't even know if it's dropped or not. You guys are not talking about the BAE.
Yeah. Well, help me out, people in chat. Why are we not talking about the BAE 146?
Yeah, that's
from Just Flight.
Yeah, Just Flight. Yeah, why are we not talking about that airplane? You guys are biased, man. I don't know. It's not out yet, says Bill. Okay, all right. So it's not out yet.
So still, there's still people showing it off.
Rickenzie did mention the BAE to me. Yeah.
Okay.
It's out for a whole what? Is it out or is it not out?
I don't think it's out.
Oh, well, here's the question. The answer is because it's not a Boeing or Airbus. That's why nobody talks about it.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Also, why are you? Well, I mean, there's a few, but very few. Why are you guys not talking about the Concorde? What do you think of the Concorde? Is it
I've heard a streamer who's flown the X-Plane 11 Concorde, asked if they will fly the Microsoft Concorde, and their answer is no.
Why is that?
They didn't give me a reasoning. I'm thinking maybe the systems are not as developed as the one that for X-Plane, because one for X-Plane turned out to be really decent. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're gonna release the BAE 146 in April for $80.
$80?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
You know.
No. Just Flight. No.
And in real life, who flies the BAE? Is it in the States or is it mostly in Europe? That's the question.
$80. What does that plane? Ay. I'm sorry. That I didn't know that. That's yeah. No. I mean, I would fly it. If they sent it to me, because it happens. If they sent it to me, I would give it a try. I would give it a chance, and I would give my honest opinion on it. But honestly, I just based on visual of seeing it, and also on, on thinking about what missions I can fly with it. Like, where am I gonna take this plane? Just based on that thought, I'm like, I don't think it's worth $80 for me.
Right. Right.
And I think as well, I think it's also kind of a cultural split for the BAE 146, because here in the United States, where me and XP stay, I've never seen one in real life. I've never seen a BAE 146 landed anywhere. I never heard of it. Like, I don't think there's any American Airlines, maybe one or two, have ever flown with one. So for us, it's a very foreign plane that we're just. People are more interested in planes that they see every day to day. That's why people are in love with 7.3s. They're so common. They see it. They're in love with A320s. They may be in love with the A380 because it's just so massive. They saw it, right? So like the 146 is like, we don't really see them. And if they're here, they're very uncommon. And as well is they were replaced a long time ago, I think, by like the CRJ, the ERJs, all that stuff. So they're just not being flown today.
Yeah, somebody said United Express flew the BAE back in the 90s. 747 Forever says that United Express had the BAEs. Interesting. Now I have to go look that up and see that in a United Express livery.
Yeah, somebody's corrected me as well. They said the price is actually $64.99, not $80.
Okay.
It's still I don't know. I think that price is better, but it depends on how much you care about BAE 146s.
Yeah. It depends. Somebody says the Microsoft Concorde, you can start it up with one keystroke.
What?
That's why. Yeah.
Okay.
So. So yeah, the MD80 or MD90 would be more interested in the BAE for whatever reason. I don't know. But so Rock City Strong says now Just Flight says that the BAE 146 Professional from Microsoft Flight Simulator will be released for $49, $59, and $69, depending on the level, I guess.
What? They're releasing in 3 different levels?
Yeah. To be fair, not every plane is for everyone, says PR7.
No, you're right. You are right about that.
That is true.
Right.
I mean, I'm very picky with planes that I fly on stream. The one that knocked me out the most, haven't gone back to the CRJ, and I do promise to fly the CRJ again. Yes.
That CRJ hit you in the face real hard. You got a kicking from that thing. That thing whooped your butt.
The 2 times I flew it, I was sweating the entire time.
XP is what, 2-0 in the CRJ? I'm sorry, 0-2 in the CRJ.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's losing that battle. But no, I think honestly, I was actually considering flying it recently. So I think it's still good. I think that plane's in good shape. I think it's a good option to fly. I still highly recommend the CRJ from Aerosoft. I think it's great. It's just not for everybody. People want their 737s, right? I think what's gonna happen though is that people are gonna get their 737. They're gonna have their A320, and they're gonna get used to that, and they're gonna start looking for other stuff to fly, and the CRJ is gonna be there like in the DMs just waiting for you. So it's not going anywhere.
All right. Okay, let's switch here real quick, and then we'll come back to the price of the PMDG from the poll results. Who here, by indication of hands, press 1 for yes, 2 for no in chat. 1 for yes, 2 for no in chat. Who is highly anticipating and waiting for X-Plane 12 to drop? Since we've been talking about
sorry. Side note in chat, Aerosoft rated E for everyone. Okay, back to X.
I'm done. Oh my god.
Okay, repeat your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so 1 for yes, 2 for no in chat. Who is anticipating the X-Plane 12? Who can't wait for that thing to drop? 1 for yes, 2 for no in chat. I would love to know just by a little impromptu.
Can I participate? I'm
vote
putting
here.
a 1 in the chat. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And, I guess this says a lot because, you can't tell if the community is a 50-50 Microsoft X-Plane community or 75 X-Plane, 25 Microsoft, or vice versa, 75 Microsoft, 25 X-Plane. But okay, I got you all in chat. So I'm getting lots of ones over here on my side, anticipating X-Plane 12.
Yeah, I got a lot of 1s as well.
Yeah. And while they're putting it in, Blue, what are your top 3 things you're anticipating from X-Plane 12?
Number 1, weather. Number 2, weather effects. Number 3, lighting. Done.
Weather effects, and lighting. Yeah. Weather, which brings on the icing model and the windshield thing, and then the lighting. If they could brighten up that night lighting, would be nice, But yeah, I think I'm thinking the same thing, Of what we've seen so far, yes, that's what it is. I'm looking at that going, yeah. If we can, the weather. Like my flight yesterday in X-Plane 11 was so frustrating because I had no clouds for like a good 30 minutes.
Wow.
Then they pop in. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's the top 3. X-Plane physics is already good. They don't need to touch that or break it. The weather in X-Plane is crap. That needs to be redone. I still want eye candy. I'm still looking forward to that thick tree line, not just some sparse trees that looks good in 3D. Some thick tree line I want. 3D trees, exactly. They are making 3D trees for X-Plane, but when you're coming in on approach in Microsoft Flight Sim, one of the things that makes it look the realest is just how thick the canopy is coming into the airport. Gives that sense of realism coming in. That's the eye candy. At cruise, between Microsoft and X-Plane, with my ortho, you can't even tell the difference sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The weather and the cloud make the difference. So, yeah, don't blame. Somebody says because I didn't use the METAR from Active Sky properly. Don't blame X-Plane for it. Doctor on board, what's going on, bro? Welcome, man. So, so yeah, we'll see. Yep, but that's that. I am anticipating X-Plane 12 because this entire conversation we just had might be different when 12 drops.
One thing on because we're talking a lot about kind of my chat's talking about the 1 versus 2, the X-Plane versus Microsoft Flight Sim, and a lot of the things that are coming with the next couple sim updates are supposed to kind of answer the problems that we've been having with the flight model. Plus a few extra kind of fun things like wake turbulence or, changes to the flight model, stuff like that. All right. I'm sorry. We're back.
That's all right. That's cool.
Sorry, that was a little bit of a moment of silence for P3D.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's
I'm
bad.
sorry. Yeah, so rewind back 60 seconds. What were you saying?
No, I was just talking about. I'm hoping that they release it within the next 2-3 months, the most. By summer, it should be out. By summer it should be out. I'm hoping, but at the same time, I want them to take their time and get it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be crucial. X-Plane 12 release is going to be crucial.
Yeah.
If you're underwhelmed by that release, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be like you said at the beginning of the show. Like you only have one chance to make a first impression, and X-Plane 12's first impression is gonna be more crucial than ever because the competition is so high. We're gonna most likely have a PMDG 737 when X-Plane 12 comes out. Plus we have Microsoft Flight Sim already, right? So it's going to be, a lot of the X-Plane 11 users are going to probably go ahead and adopt X-Plane 12 because it's just an update, kind of. And, they're going to be more, X-Plane people are going to be more acceptable to, release issues. But anybody who's considering getting an X-Plane who is not already sold out for X-Plane are going to probably not come back to X-Plane if it doesn't release well. And what may happen is they'll try it, and if it's bugged out like a lot of things have been, then they'll be like, all right, no, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go back to Microsoft Flight Sim or P3D or whatever it is that they fly, and they might come back for a particular plane if something big enough releases, but I don't know. The thing too is, didn't I see somewhere that you could buy in to an open beta for X-Plane 12? And that's the way they're going to release it.
Yeah, a couple of months back, I think somebody says that,
I wonder if they're still going to go through with that, because I think I heard that a while back ago. And we've kind of like X-Plane 12 dropped a bunch of like news and information like within like a couple weeks. We're all like, oh my god, is it going to come out like soon? And then they've just been silent since then. We haven't heard anything. So I guess they've been working on those issues, I think, that they've been talking about. But I remember hearing that they're going to do a open beta, like you buy to get into the open beta, and then that basically everybody tests it until it's ready, which is kind of weird to release it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they came out in gangbusters after Flight Sim Expo and showcased a whole bunch of stuff, and then nothing for a minute. So yeah, who knows where it is at this point? You know what I mean? But yeah. We'll see. We have to hold our thoughts and comments on that, but I'm just hoping that they come out and blow us away, with whatever it is. We haven't seen anything else to comment on it since then, so it is what it is. All right, are we ready for the results of the poll?
Before we go to the poll,
pricing,
because I want to end at the poll, let's do a quick recap of what we feel about the PMDG 77. What are, again, the key points of what's needed from that plane, and how we feel about it? What do you go ahead and just repeat what you said earlier, not all of it, but just
key takeaways from the different streams I've watched. Autopilot LNAV VNAV is functioning 100%. I don't see anybody had any mess ups or anything didn't work where that is concerned. That was very good. Love that. You understand? Sound quality, I fall somewhere in the middle, like okay, it's a 737, but I wasn't like wowed or blown away by it. I can't tell about the flight model because I'm not flying it. Everybody's sim is calibrated differently, so we'll have to wait and see on that. And I had some issues with the low FPS on the yoke and the trim wheel. I just noticed those things. So those are the top takeaways from me. It's a day one purchase. It's a 1 week stream, nonstop flying for me when it comes out. So, but those are my takeaways from it. What about you?
For me, a lot of the same stuff. The main things that we need that are crucial for this release is a solid flight model. Again, I think people who don't care or don't know much about how planes should fly are going to fly it and they're going to love it, they're going to enjoy it, they're going to think anything second about it. But for the real hardcore audience that will in the long run carry this plane and this sim, it's extremely important for that flight model to be tuned in and be really good. So I think that's where it is. Sound needs to be in there. It needs to be good. It needs to be, I mean, it doesn't really have to blow us away, but it needs to be accurate. It needs to be accurate and needs to be immersive. For the sound, and obviously visually it's gonna look good. It seems to be working so far. Again, for me, it's gonna be a day one purchase for me. It doesn't really matter to me what that price is.
Right.
I am only planning to get the 700 and get the 800 because I have to. But I'm not planning to get the 600, and we'll see if they add anything special in the 900. But the Max is definitely a must-have for me. But yeah, that leads me to price. Like I said, for me personally, I've been waiting for this for a long time. I've paid a lot of money for a lot of planes, like a Challenger, for $120. So I ain't got no room to complain on how much things cost. But so far, my chat is all leaning towards between $50 and $60 for the PMDG 737. That's what they're predicting. What does your chat say?
My chat's a bunch of rich people. The lowest at 22% of the people said it should be between 60 and 70.
Wow.
24% says between 70 and 80. 26% between 50 and 60. And 28%, which is the highest, says between 80 and 120.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow, that is so opposite from my chat. Jesus.
I know.
Our audiences are so weird and different. Yeah, like I'm reading it all out. So on the low end, my 91 to 120 is 15%. That's the lowest. Right now, between $61 and $70 and 71 to 80. So basically 61 all the way to 80 is dead even right now. And then by a whole 10%, $50 to $60 is what people are guessing. So yeah, that's the number one for me.
Yeah, I would say 60 would be the low end, would be my guess.
Yeah.
And I want to say, okay, you tell me what you want to say. Okay, I think it's going to be between 60 and 80. That's what I think. What do you think, Blue? That's
my guess. My guess is based on the DC-6. The DC-6 that came out from Microsoft Flight Sim surprised me because they charged a whole lot of money for that in X-Plane, and they charged a whole lot of money for it in P3D. And when they came to Microsoft Flight Sim, because of the ban, they dropped the price. So I'm thinking with the whole new pricing model and the way they're releasing these planes, we're getting four or five different variants. It would make no sense to pay $120 for each of them, or even $80. So my guess is going to be at the highest 69. Highest for me. That's like the highest I would go is $69 USD. I'm thinking it's gonna drop lower because of all the variations we're gonna get. So that's my guess. I'm thinking 60s. I'm hoping for 60s. That's pretty cheap. That's pretty good. But I mean, think about it, bro. Like, I mean, I watched 3,500 people watching Chewy the other day.
Yes.
If you multiply, I mean, at 3,800. If just half of that, let's say, let's just go round up 2,000 people, which would be way more than that buying this plane. Just 2,000 people bought this plane for $60. How much would they make? Where my math people at?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. That's the answer. Equals a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, they gonna make some bank on this plane. So I think they should definitely lower the price. Because they'll be all right. That's $120,000.
I think each of us is going to pick up at least 2 to 3 variants of this plane.
Oh yeah, we're going to buy this plane twice. People we're going to literally buy this plane 2 times. Yeah. We don't know. We don't have any guarantee there's going to be a price like a loyalty program is like, oh, you bought the 700, you get the 800 for half off. And we know that the people who bought the older planes will get like $99 of credit, which is good. They can spend it on this plane and any other plane that's extra. But for those of you who don't have anything, we're going to have to buy this plane 2 times. So that price is going to be interesting. And if it's, go ahead.
Hold on. Mick Slim, welcome to the stream, man. Mick Slim in the chat says, he goes, low, we're talking about PMDG and low prices in the same sentence. What's up, Mick
Slim? We're trying, bro. We're trying.
Man. Wow.
We ain't got no influence on the price.
You're lucky if Microsoft doesn't charge a monthly fee for it.
Bro, that would piss me off so much.
Oh my god.
Somebody's gonna do that, bro. Somebody's gonna release a plane for a monthly price. Monthly price.
I know who's gonna be.
Who's it gonna be? Captain Sim for
Exactly. I know.
the C-130
Wow.
extended from Captain Sim is gonna be $60 a month for the extended package with the FMC and FMC updates and a nav update.
Yep. Definitely, man. But yeah, it's hey, you know what? This is why we're in this hobby, right? Because we get excited about add-ons and planes and sceneries, unlike other games where you probably get. I don't think they get add-ons and stuff as much as we do. We get a lot of it. You know what I mean? We might be small.
It depends on the game, but yeah.
True. You know what I mean? But yeah. Get that PayPal pay in 4 easy payments, says Mixlim. Put it on layaway. Oh my god. But yeah, it's we're looking forward to it, man. We're looking forward to some flying.
In chat, Smitey says they think the NGXU for P3D sold 9,000 copies, and that was around $100 each. Bankrolls. Wow. So, anyways, that's on P3D, bro.
Yeah, I think Microsoft is going to do more. I just think so. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are coming back to Simming because of Microsoft Flight Sim. They just are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So next month, Captain Sim 737-800 release for $100, no cockpit. Oh my god!
Somebody needs to add to the Flight Sim TO right now.
I'm done.
737 mod, no cockpit.
I know.
Salty compatibility mod.
I know. I'm done. All right, guys. Look, we're gonna have Blue. We have to do another one of this discussion after this airplane comes out, and after we get our hands on it and fly it for at least a couple of weeks. We need to have a part 2 of this exact thing, so that we can see what we said was complete garbage or what we said was completely right. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I think we should revisit this. It's one of those moments. It's one of those moments. You know what I mean? Then true. I think so. So I think check us out, guys. We're gonna come back and talk about what we got right and what we got wrong and what we didn't know what the hell we were talking about when this thing drops. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, PMDG, please prove us wrong. I mean, we weren't all negative in this chat. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about a lot of good stuff, but just things that we were hoping for. Again, what we see right now, we know is not done. And so we've already both said, I mean, despite what we've seen and liked and disliked, we're gonna buy it. Yeah. So it's not like anything is being like immersion breaking or game breaking that we're like, okay, no, I'm not getting this because of this reason. Right. So, but whenever, like I said, when we do our part 2, we'll be able to discuss in more detail and obviously check out our live streams when we do get to fly this bird. So we'll give our live feedback there. But again, thank you guys for coming out and chatting with us.
Real quick, before you run the music. Santiago Montoya, he said, please discuss the Fenix. Oh, trust me, we will be discussing the Fenix and juxtapose it against the A320 mod because that's what, well, it's going to happen. Don't worry. It's going to come out. But,
and also, on that Fenix note, they have been very quiet, suspiciously. So wouldn't it be funny if Phoenix, I mean, P3D said that they're going to, announce their date before it comes out, but Phoenix ain't got no reputation yet. Yep. They could just pop out of nowhere and be like, all right, guys, it's out. Go get it. So what if they just know, kind of step on PMDG's toes a little bit and just like, hey, we want to get a little bit of this, a little bit of Airbus versus Boeing action going on. Just drops the plane in the same week or on the same day. I don't know. I don't know anything, but I thought it'd be funny. But we know they've been quiet. They're in beta. And, we'll definitely talk more about that as we know more.
All right. Before we go, what you got coming up, Blue, for this weekend or this next week coming up?
I will be streaming again next week. I won't be streaming tomorrow. I have to work. I'm covering for somebody else's shift. But definitely come on my Instagram stories and check out my airport ops. I do have some more ramp videos coming soon as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But definitely, that's all I got going on right now. Also, definitely come on Discord and join me and the other people on the Formula One World Tour. We're doing route number 4 over to Italy this week for the Formula One Italian Grand Prix, or one of the Italian Grand Prix. So definitely, if you're interested in that kind of thing, a world tour or racing, definitely come by and check us out. What about you?
Tomorrow, I'm going to jump back into F&O. I haven't been in the F&O in a long time.
XP returns to the F&O.
It's open mic night, so ATC all over. I think we're gonna do something, maybe out of Dallas, up north somewhere, Chicago
Nice.
maybe. But the bigger than that, Saturday morning, one more long haul, guys. 2 long hauls in the same month.
Wow.
Think about that. Yeah, 28K subs, guys. I hit 28K on subscription. Thanks to all of you guys in the chat and the stream for that. It's absolutely appreciated. So for a thank you, we're gonna do a long haul in Microsoft Flight Sim with the A330. Plus, we're gonna be doing a couple of giveaways. We're gonna give away some sceneries and some other stuff. So stay tuned for that.
That's gonna be
That's gonna be
nice.
Saturday. So that's it. That's what we got coming up.
And
Thank you
again,
so much,
bro,
guys.
congrats on that. That's a big milestone. So any streamers in the chat as well, man. You know every view counts, every like counts, every sub counts. So definitely want to thank you guys for supporting both of our channels and everywhere you've been. Thank you for supporting the Blu-XPerience as well. And if you want to watch more of our episodes, again, this is episode 25. We have 24 great conversations with us, with other developers, with the Fly-by-Wire team, with the Flight Factor team. I mean, we got so many great guests we've had on the show, and a lot more to come in the future. So if you have any suggestions, we're definitely open to that. But also, you can watch or listen to all of our stuff on Spotify podcast. So, yes, sir.
Well, and
I was waiting for you to talk.
what's the 3 things you always say?
Remember, you have 3 choices: give up, give in, or listen to the intro. I'm just kidding. Give it all you got. Peace, love.
I'll see you guys later.
Hey, God bless you. We'll see you guys next time, next video. We are all the way out.
Out.
Sheesh. Stinger.